week or whatever, even for a full term. That's great.
If they're like just learning and they need a lot of prompting and people to know where to say that.
Ada tambahan juga, tadi kan dibilang nih kalau misalnya bantuannya sudah sedikit, berarti reinforcementnya besar. Berarti kalau dia dibantu besar, reinforcementnya sedikit. Tapi itu tidak berlaku kalau pelajarannya susah, kalau perilakunya sulit. Kayak kemarin contohnya yang anak itu nggak mau duduk. Tapi begitu dia bisa masukkan ke donat, ya udah dia dikasih double, dipuji juga iya, dikasih makanan juga iya. Jadi kita ngasih pujian yang dan makanan itu untuk memasukkan donat, tapi kita mau kasih lihat ini menyenangkan loh. Untuk pelajaran sulit atau pelajaran yang baru dipelajari yang baru.
And it's important to remember that obviously, ideally, sessions would go how we did it and you'd be able to fade and get independent responses, but there's going to be times where you're doing a gesture prompt for a few days and then eventually it would go independent. So they may not be performing the skill independently by the end of the session, but if you keep on working, hopefully within like that week you could fade it to independent. And then if you're not able to fade it independently within like a week or two, that's when you would kind of assess to make some changes.
Jadi jangan terpaku sama contoh yang barusan ya. Jadi dikasih prompt A, misalnya tiba-tiba kita harus kurangin. Cepet kan kalau di sini, tapi di kenyataannya bisa jadi kita akan melakukan full physicalnya selama seminggu, baru kita hilangkan lagi jadi yang modeling, terus berkurang itu bisa tahunan malah. Jadi kalau di sini kan hanya contoh gimana caranya kita menghilangkan, dan jangan menghilangkannya terlalu cepat.
So there's two things you want to avoid when you're prompting, and that's prompt dependency and then unintentional prompts.
Ini adalah prompt yang harus dihindari, prompt yang ketergantungan, anaknya udah ketergantungan banget dan ini sering banget terjadi. Kemudian prompt yang tidak disengaja. Kira-kira prompt yang tidak disengaja kita bahas ini satu-satu.
And so prompt dependency is when a child becomes dependent on the prompts, and that can happen if the prompt's not faded appropriately. So the child may become dependent and wait for you to prompt them instead of performing the skill independently.
Ketergantungan terhadap prompt itu karena anaknya selalu dibantu dan tidak pernah dikurangi bantuannya. Akhirnya anak jadi ketergantungan, nungguin sampai dibantu.
And that's why you need to fade the prompt systematically, and you want to fade out as soon as you possibly can to avoid prompt dependency.
Jadi kita harus melakukan pengurangan prompt itu harus secara sistematis. Bisa dari, kalau di situ ditulis most tulis prompting, tapi bisa juga sebaliknya. Tergantung kemampuan si anak lagi. Tapi harus secepatnya diingat kemampuan anaknya.
So an example would be, I had a child he was about 13 years old, and he became very, very dependent on us verbally prompting him to complete his, like brushing his teeth and washing his hands and that kind of thing. So he would, at every step of brushing his teeth, he would just like stop and look at me and wait. He would want me to tell him, pick up your toothbrush, and that's when I did the kind of time delay, and I waited him out. And then once he went to reach for the toothbrush and picked it up, then I would reinforce. So he was very, very dependent on every step of me verbally prompting him to say that.
Dia punya kasus di mana anaknya itu udah 13 tahun mau diajarin sikat gigi. Karena dia sudah sangat ketergantungan sama bantuan, dia liatin terapisnya sampai ngomong. Nah, pada saat beginilah kita menggunakan prompt delay. Jadi ditungguin sampai dia ngambil. Begitu dia pegang, langsung kita puji. Iya, itu sikat gigi. Nanti begitu lagi sampai akhirnya dia betul sekali.
Another example I did kids and the friend said, clap hands, you just hold out his hands, making it happen. And if they touch heads, you're doing the same, hold them out and you want to be touch. So that was a way of waiting for the prompt.
Ada juga yang karena dia ketergantungan dibantu secara fisik, tangannya kalau belum apa-apa disuruh udah begini. Ayo gerakin gitu. Siapa yang bisa kasih contoh yang anaknya ketergantungan sama bantuan? Udah? I have a kid who wait. You ask me to say.
Let's see. Let's see.
Jadi sampai dia atau kasih senyuman, oh disorder.
Semacam ragu untuk melakukannya kadang saya juga ya.
Kenapa?
Ada si anak suka kayak semacam anak saya suka kalau melakukan apa, "Ma nggak bisa, nggak bisa," gitu. Selalu kayak begitu kalau misalnya yang ini Nabil, yang ini terus begitu.
Her son always say, I cannot do it until you help.
But can he do it?
Tapi sebenarnya dia bisa kerjain.
Kadang bisa sebenarnya, cuma dia nggak bisa, Ma, nggak bisa.
Ya,
He can do it. That's when you would kind of like think about our other training and get their motivation. So like before you even give the demand, like make sure they're motivated for something so that they want to do it.
Nah kalau yang untuk itu kasihnya reinforcement yang kuat di awal, kasih tahu kalau kamu bisa kerjain ini. Tapi bukan ke bantuan yang lain. Ada lagi? Mau kasih contoh yang ketergantungan?
And then the other one are those unintentional prompts. So something that you may not realize that you're prompting a behavior.
Yang kedua adalah nggak sengaja kasih bantuan. Jadi kita sendiri nggak tahu kalau kita udah ngasih bantuan.
So that could be always putting something in the same spot. So if you always put the correct item in the middle, the child might learn that it's always going to be in the middle, no matter what.
Jadi misalnya kita naruh jawaban yang kita inginkan tuh di tengah, terus apa di tengah. Jadi anaknya belajar yang benar itu yang di tengah.
Yeah. So they might not even be learning the picture. They might just be learning that the correct spot is always in the middle, which is why it's important to change it up, just mix it around, so that it's always in a different spot.
Kalau di tempat yang sama terus sebenarnya kita nggak tahu anaknya udah ngerti apa enggak. Jadi alangkah baiknya kalau bisa diputar.
Atau juga itu bisa kayak kadang-kadang kita kan mau neraih anak kita udah tahu jawaban, kita selalu ngeliat di situ dia baca mata kita kan ya, dia bacanya.
So the therapist accidentally want to see where's the card and looking down.
Yeah. Yep, that's another one. Actually, the next one is looking at the right one. So I could be like,
Dia baca mata.
banana, and like really looking at it with.
Itu ada yang di nomor 2. Jadi melihat pada kartu atau benda yang kita inginkan, nggak sengaja. Itu paling sering terjadi.
Yeah. And then another one is starting to praise before the child completes the behavior. So that's kind of what your child might look for. You want to do it? Yeah. So before they completely make the correct response, I could be like, find banana. Yeah. So they kind of learn from your facial expression that that's the right one instead of knowing beforehand. Yeah.
Jadi anaknya itu belajar baca mukanya aja, bukan belajar apa yang dipelajari. Oh, kalau benar mukanya pasti lebih senang.
So you want to kind of keep a straight face, like neutral.
You can do it too if you don't reinforce it and then like just.
Oh yeah. So if you they make a correct response, but you don't reinforce right away,
Or even incorrect.
or incorrect. So yeah, like yeah. So that could be just them like waiting to
Nyoba-nyoba.
Cap-cip-cup.
Cap-cip-cup. We call it cap-cip-cup. Cap-cip means trying.
Yes,
Trying.
exactly.
And
So it
they're
doesn't
just
show
looking at the response rather than
So it doesn't show that they know it. They're just waiting for you to reinforce, right?
Jadi kalau anaknya begitu kita nggak tahu sebenarnya dia ngerti apa enggak sih yang kita mintain gitu. Karena dia kayaknya ingin kita terlihat happy, oh senang, oh di sini nih pasti nih aku pasti benar nih. Tapi dia ngerti apa enggak kan tahu.
Okay, so this is just kind of giving examples of prompting just verbal responses. So when you're teaching labeling to a kid, what we talked about before, and like fading out your verbal prompt. So if I said, "What is it? Banana," and then the next time I might try to fade that out and say, "What is it? But," and like just shorten the word. And then the next time testing to see if they can do it independently. So what is it? And then they
Ini bantuan untuk si anak memberikan respon secara verbal dari yang penuh sampai setengah sampai akhirnya mandiri. Contohnya katakan pisang, anaknya bilang pisang. Katakan peach, anaknya bilang pisang. Kemudian katakan apa ini, anaknya bilang.
So prompting verbal responses are good for teaching labeling and also requesting.
Prompt secara verbal ini bagus untuk mengajari meminta dan melabel.
So an example of teaching requesting. An example of teaching requesting would be like, say Christina really wants the pen, so like reach for it. Pen. And then the next time, I might try to make her work for it a little more. So like reach for it. Pen. Yeah. Yeah, so you're kind of making her do a little more work, and then the next time I might wait a few seconds. Pen. Yeah.
Contohnya si Christina suka banget sama pulpennya, jadi kita minta dia untuk ucapin penuh sampai setengah dan akhirnya dia ucapin secara mandiri. And I think all parents should do this, so they are not giving it to the child meal or bread or whatever it is, directly to the kid. Just practice it, more practice like bread, even make some
Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
Jadi semua orang tua harusnya menggunakan ini dalam keseharian biar anak terbiasa untuk mendengarkan apa yang kita mau. Karena kan ini mengajari request, mengajari dia meminta. Jangan dia memintanya lewat nadi, lewat kamu.
Yeah, requesting is a great skill that a lot of parents can work on just naturally in the environment. Whenever a child wants something, to just labeling it, having them say it before you give it to them.
Jadi karena orang tua kan sehari-hari, jadi ketemu anaknya itu sering. Situasinya situasi alami, dipakai aja untuk ngajarin anak-anak.
And then it's also for verbal prompting, just important to remember that you can't make a child talk. So you want to make sure you're teaching, what you're teaching is appropriate to the age level, or to their level of understanding and skill level.
Perlu diingat bahwa kita tuh nggak bisa bikin anak bicara, cari tahu kemampuannya, jangan sampai yang anaknya nggak ngeluarin suara sama sekali diajarin ini.
Tapi katanya ini suatu saat dia bakal muncul. Teorinya.
So he heard that someday all autistic will talk.
I think it just really depends on the kid and what kind of,
bisa komunikasi. I will choose the kid can communicate and be verbal. Verbal means like but not communicate.
Yeah.
Saya akan lebih milih anaknya berkomunikasi lewat kartu lewat apa daripada verbal tapi bahasa planet.
Yeah, perfect. Yep. So that all children will be able to communicate in some way, it just might not look the same. So some might use pictures, some might use some kind of speech device, and some might be verbal. Either way, it's just important that the child's communicating.
Ya, jadi komunikasi itu lebih penting daripada hanya verbal saja. Verbal tanpa arti juga nggak bisa. Verbal tapi dia nggak dua arah juga sama aja bohong. Jadi mendingan komunikasi entah lewat kata tapi dua arah. Ini kan banyak ya awal ya banyak yang jualan anak kasih verbal. Itu mungkin terjadi kalau si treatmentnya dari 1 tahun terus pada jauh terus orang-orang yang hatinya pun bagus terus banyak kondisi-kondisi tertentu yang harus dipenuhi. Nah kalau ini tidak dijelaskan dan dijual dengan sembarangan boleh-boleh aja sah-sah aja karena apa ya namanya bisnis. Tapi memberikan harapan ke orang tua yang akhirnya nanti kalau nggak tercapai orang tuanya gimana? Patah hati gitu. Kalau misalnya bikin semangat iya, setelah setahun 2 tahun nggak ada perubahan, lemes lagi dia. Akan lebih realistis kalau kita bilang, saya akan ajarin anak kamu komunikasi. So I'm just saying that in here there are clinics that sell your favorite the language is communication. In 2 ways communications, in using cards, whatever, at least the kid is communicating. Verbal but not 2 ways, then yeah, exactly.
Wonderful. You're amazing. And so we went over a lot, so I won't spend too much time on this, but I was just showing that, verbal prompting may look different than prompting receptive skills. So this is that physical, moving back from physical to partial to gesture, model, and then dependent.
Jadi ini agak beda sama yang tadi yang verbal. Kalau prompting receptive respon itu contohnya kayak meminta anak untuk melakukan sesuatu atau mengambil sesuatu yang berhubungan dengan pendengarannya.
And then prompting can also look different when you're prompting more of life skills. So things that maybe aren't at the table, but they are definitely used to teach more life skills like brushing teeth, or putting on shoes, or washing hands.
Jadi prompting bantuan bisa digunakan juga untuk mengajari kemampuan kemandirian dalam keseharian. Kita bilangnya apa ya? Life skill.
Kemandirian.
Kemandirian.
Bantu diri.
I found the word. Bina diri. Jadi kayak misalnya sikat gigi, terus pakai sepatu, kemudian cuci tangan.
And with these ones, it's much better to not verbally prompt, but have maybe those pictures that we talked about to help them through the task, or just gestures or models to perform the sequence instead of verbals.
Untuk yang life skill, bina diri ini hindari penggunaan verbal. Karena apa? Karena verbal itu kan susah dihilangkannya. Kalau misalnya tetap ada, si orang tersebut harus selalu dekat-dekat si anak. Nah, usahakan pakai kartu, ditulis, boleh gambar, boleh tulisan. Ya, kalau misalnya dia belum bisa sampai situ, kita ada di dekat anak, tapi kasihnya movement atau gesture atau modeling. Tapi hindari verbal.
And the reason we don't really want to use verbal prompts with these kind of skills is because that's harder to fade out, and the main goal of these kind of skills is for them to do them even when no one's around. So it's hard to fade out those verbal prompts as opposed to just pictures or physical prompts where you can fade yourself out eventually.
Jadi kalau misalnya verbal itu kan memang susah dihilangkan karena orangnya harus selalu ada. Kalau gambar kita bisa kurangin sedikit-sedikit. Kalau tulisan pun bisa tadinya tulis misalnya yang lengkap tinggal separuh, tadinya separuh hilang sama sekali.
And you also want to remember that when prompting or even just working on these kinds of life skills, you have enough time for the child to perform the skill. So it may be easier for you to physically help them put their shoes on because you need to leave the house in a minute. So if you want to work on these and work on feeding yourself out, you want to make sure that you're giving the child enough time for them to do it independently, even though it might take them 5 minutes.
Jadi ini kan mengerjakan kayak sikat gigi, pakai sepatu, sama cuci tangan itu kan lama ya. Buat kita sebentar, tapi buat anak itu bisa 5 menit, 10 menit. Nah kalau memang kita mau ngajarin ini, kita harus menyediakan waktu. Nggak boleh yang buru-buru. Karena kayak pakai sepatu aja, belum ikatnya, belum masukin ke lubangnya, belum bikin talinya itu susah. Jadi sediakan waktu.
And sometimes, since these kind of tasks involve a lot of different steps and a lot of different skills, it might be good to start with you fully helping them through most of it and then having them do maybe just the last step independently. So just, putting the toothbrush away or that kind of thing and then building up from there.
Karena ini kan ngerjain life skill itu panjang. Kita kasih contoh aja pakai sepatu, dari ngambil sepatunya, terus menjarinya, terus mengikatnya, baru selesai. Kalau kita baru pertama kali ngerjain, kasih yang terakhir aja ke anak. Sisanya kita awal-awal kita ngerjain semua. Baru tambahin sedikit sampai akhirnya dia ngerjain semua.
And then since there are a lot of steps to life skills and it takes a lot more effort, you really want to make sure that for things like this, you have a very big reinforcer at the end because it does involve a lot of steps.
Karena ini banyak urutannya, misalnya kayak sepatu tadi itu bisa 15 urutan. Berarti kan usahanya besar. Kita harus pastikan itu di reinforce besar juga.
Kasih sepatu lagi ya.
Kenapa?
Kasih sepatu lagi.
Oh, boleh Pak. Boleh.
like how to take data
Slide itu dari tadi thermal form, physical form, dan materinya. Jadi kan banyak slide yang sama gitu.
we can have it in the
I think maybe bisa sama. Enggak. Ini just like enggak ini masih karena memang line form itu sama form memang banyak porsi sebenarnya.
Oke, sekarang kita kan mau lihat nih. Dari tadi saya bilang banyak langkah-langkahnya untuk life skill ini, ya kan? Jangan sampai brushing teeth, sikat gigi hanya ngambil sikatnya, terus langsung disikat. Coba dia akan kasih contoh.
So if I were to break down brushing teeth into simpler steps, I would first look at the first step of brushing teeth is reaching for the toothbrush. And then the next step is getting toothpaste. And then you put toothpaste on. You put the toothpaste down. Bring it up to your mouth. Brush all around. Brush up, down, around.
Jadi ini contohnya sikat gigi. Ambil sikatnya, ambil odolnya, taruh odolnya, terus mulai sikat gigi yang atas, kiri, kanan, bawah, dalam, dalam yang kiri, yang kanan, yang bawah, atas, itu panjang kan? Ya. Belum lagi Oke, sekarang kita akan latihan untuk bikin
urutannya.
urutan.
Ayo bikin. Sikat gigi.
Bukan, aku akan kasih bukan itu.
Oke.
They will do the breakdown also.
Cool. Yeah. Perfect. Just runs them to learn how to break down the skills.
What can be done then?
Yeah.
We could even show like how to record on it.
I think that's good. Just to kind of get the idea that like brushing teeth has so many different steps. Good. Oh yeah.
Urutan atau sequence apa?
Oke, Bapak. Karena kalau
She's like, we won't call that. That's gonna be. We'll just say, we just need to show them that the A's are written down. Like brushing teeth has like
urutannya.
Nanti boleh.
Apa Pak? Kira-kira.
Hang for cuci tangan.
Cuci tangan. Oh, you meant like bikin activity.
Ya.
Oh ya. Judulnya ya. Karena saya masih lupa what we can do.
makanannya bisa
Bikin teh.
bikin teh aja.
Iya. Bikin teh dulu
Bikin
pertama.
teh itu satu apa? Dua apa?
Pakai baju aja deh.
And it's a great one.
Tadi udah dikasih.
I've used it for.
Udah Bu, pakai sepatu Bu.
Tapi kan sepatu nggak sep.
Oh iya udah pakai teh. Karena nggak pernah pakai teh.
Oh, oke.
Yeah, sure.
Bu,
Yeah, but just I like having a
13.
3 minutes. It just creates a rule governed behavior or something that is a pretty awesome yeah.
Besok kan Oh, kalau pakai baju berapa?